Hey, what's up guys, Hazardous Gaming here, and I am back today with another War Robots video. Sorry about yesterday's video. The save file got corrupted, and I lost the video, and it just got all messed up, and yeah. So I ended up losing yesterday's video, which was about the tokens and stuff from the new summer event. Monday, I was just kind of busy, wasn't able to record, but yeah, so, as probably most of you know, we have the new weapon, the Tempest. You've probably all seen it. The only thing it doesn't say is how much damage it actually does, but yeah, pretty much the same thing, except that it does more damage, or the accuracy increases as it gets closer, and it has automatic firing mode, so you can like fire rounds precisely and separately or in long bursts. So my thinking is you can change it into basically an automatic sniper rifle kind of thing, where instead of having these big clunky cannons that take forever to reload, you have one big magazine auto cannon. So yeah, the chests kind of look the same pretty much as the anniversary event. Yeah, but today is going to be something a little bit different. Now, I was looking at these things and was thinking, hey, the name of this is War Robots, but a robot is an automated unit. And a lot of these clearly do not look like they are automated. They look like a pilot sits in them. And that would be classified as a mech. So today we're going to look at every single robot and try to determine if it looks more like a mech or an actual robot or a drone. Because some of them, although they look like they could have a pilot in them or crew in them, some of them look like they are not robots, but they look like they could be robot. Well, no. I'm screwing this up. I can't talk. Excuse that. So, I guess we'll get to that when we get to that. But, Cossack, windshield, clearly a pilot and probably a gunner. That also acts as a co-pilot. Pretty clear it's a mech. This one, Deister, we have what appears to be some sensors right up there, these little red dot things. Maybe some more sensors down there. What appears to be a bit of a camera right here. You can see the little white dot where I'm tapping. You don't usually see that feature because I usually have it disabled, but for this purpose I'm going to have it enabled. This little thing right here looks like it could be a camera of some sort, and maybe some sensors. I'm not sure if this little thing right here is indeed a window or windshield or viewport of some sort. I'm not sure. But we have what appears to be a ladder. Looks like a ladder, and it extends, it appears. And what appears could possibly be a hatch, maybe not, I'm not sure. But I'm going to go ahead and call that one a mech as well. Next up we have Gepard. Looks like we might have maybe some sensors of some sort. We might have some windshields right in those two areas. Possibly those might not be, and this part is right here, but most likely these two are windshields, and it is crewed by a pilot and a co-pilot slash gunner. Yeah, that one's pretty much probably most likely a mech. Next we have chutes. I'm not going to talk too much about this one. We got what appears to be 2 headlights, a cockpit right here, that's pretty clear. A cockpit, some headlights or sensors. Can't see any hatches. However, there could always be something that doesn't look like a hatch that is a hatch. You never know. Sometimes they might slide, sometimes they might open. You just never know. But this one is pretty clearly a mech. Moving on. We have Vityats or Vyats or whatever you say, I don't know. I can't tell if this is like headlights or a radar dish. I think it looks kind of like a radar dish sensor thing. Got some sensors. Well, no, those look like intake valves for the engine. Yeah, that's probably what those are. But this is, you got a sensor here. This might be a sensor. Some windows here. These little blue dots. Some headlights. We got a camera right here under the Nash horn. It's pretty clear. That one's most likely a mech as well. Moving on, we have Golem. We got 2 headlights, one right there and one right there. We have some smoke poppers that are common on modern day tanks. What appears to be a sensor. Not seeing any viewports or windows or anything, unless this little black slit right there could be one. However, I do see a very clear and distinct hatch. Now, you never know, that could be a hatch to the engine. However, I believe the engine housing is most likely down in the abdomen portion where all the parts attach to it. Or you could call that the body, I don't know. And this is the head, but this is most likely where the engine is and what appears to be another hatch for that port. This one is clearly a hatch into the cockpit, so this one is most likely a mech as well. Next up, I don't think we really need to look at this. There's a clear windshield right there. Yeah. And this one, we'll just look at it because why not? Clear windshields right here and here. Got various sensors. I know the older model of Rigadka had what appeared to be a camera slash sensor of some sort common that looks quite a bit like those on modern day attack helicopters. We got some sensors. What appears to be another sensor, this little thing that's sticking out right there. Don't see any hatches, however, it looks like this part could possibly slide back into there. Probably crewed by pilot and co-pilot slash gunner. Moving on. This one, Jesse, looks like it might be a little bit tougher. Got what appears to be maybe sensors or headlights. More pretty clear sensors here and here, those little red dots. Kind of difficult to see. Not seeing any hatches unless this part here selected back to here. Opening it up. Got what appears like it might either be decoration. However, it looks like it could be a viewport or windshield of some sort. There's 2 little lines right there, one or the other. I'm not sure. Not seeing really any antennas that would signify that it could be a drone or any signal broadcasters and receptors. This one is pretty tough. I'm not sure. think we're gonna call this one undecided. I'm gonna leave it up to you guys in the comments section to decide that for yourself. So now we are on dock. We got what is clearly a camera and 2 sensors. Got 2 headlights and what appears to be blinkers. That's kind of odd. Not sure why a war machine would need blinkers in this seemingly apocalyptic world scenario, I guess you could call it. I don't know. But we have, appears could be a viewport right here. This is clearly camera right there. Not seeing any signal broadcasting looking apparatuses. Not sure why a drone or a robot would need a blinker. So I'm probably gonna call this one a mech. Kind of odd that a robot would have a blinker. This one, pretty clear. It's got a windshield viewport right here. Pretty obvious. Not seeing much else, but definitely does look like it. And what appears might even be another section to it down here. What appears to be could possibly have a second location for housing of crew members. Quite possibly that a pilot sits down here, gunner, captain, a gunner and a captain most likely sit up in this little area, and then the pilot quite possibly might sit down in here, not sure. Maybe they all sit up here. Got what appears to be headlights right there. You see those little white dots. Can't really see them when you rotate it forward, but yeah. Got the intake valves for the engines, common on a lot of the heavier bots, excuse me. So, moving on. Next, we have BOA. This one, quite clearly, I don't know if it'd be called a mech, or if it'd just be classified as a walker vehicle. It certainly doesn't look terribly much like a mech, but we'll call it a mech. 2 headlights, lots of warning lights and stuff. Got a blue sheen to the viewports, common on a lot of modern day tanks. Got those little viewports with a bluish sheen on them that allow for different ways to view it, such as infrared, night vision, heat viewing, multiple different sorts of things. You have 2 antennas. What appear to be multiple hatches all over. Probably access ports for not only the crew, but probably engine ports, stuff like that. It looks a lot like it might be one of those bots that's used to kind of test other bots in a realistic combat scenario where you pit one of these against another more advanced bot, you see how well it does. Or it could possibly be like a modified construction walker. So it could very well be that walkers weren't only used as machines of war in this time period, but also as possibly construction vehicles and utility vehicles of other sorts, and this one has quite clearly been transformed into a war machine. And you got the orange and black caution print on it, you got the warning lights, and yeah. Moving on. This one, we have Gareth up next. Got a pretty distinct headlight or lamp, shoulder lamp, I guess you could call it. Not sure if this little portion slides back up over here to give access to it. Not quite sure. What appears to be a orange tinge to the viewport. Some sensors here. A couple more headlights down here. I'd say this one is probably a mech as well. Probably crewed by a pilot and a co-pilot slash gunner. This one. Next we have Galahad. Got another distinct shoulder-mounted lamp. Some smoke poppers common on modern-day tanks. What appears might be an access hatch to maybe a bit of a, not really a hallway, but a bit of a tunnel that goes down to the main portion of the body and control room. This definitely seems like a robot this big could probably have a bigger control room than what's here on the head. So it appears that can't really zoom in on it, but it appears that we have maybe some viewports or light ports where light shines out of the eyes, maybe like a photoreceptor, I don't know. I don't know. I think we're going to leave this one undecided because it definitely looks like it could possibly have the characteristics of a mech, but it also looks like it could have the characteristics of a drone. I don't know. But I wouldn't call it a robot. Because in this advanced time period, I doubt this is completely automated and needing of a lighting, additional lighting other than what's here on its photoreceptors, because in this seemingly advanced time period, it seems that, even today, robots don't need eye things here. Like, their eye things don't need additional lighting. Only drones, really, and most drones don't even need that. But some drones, like those used in oil rigs and stuff like that, have lighting. But, yeah, this isn't one of those kinds of things, so that's probably going to be undecided. Next up, we have Leo. Got some headlights, some warning lights, what appears to be more blinkers or sensors. Got a bluish sheen to the visor or viewport thing right there. Got another one up here. So it's definitely one of the bigger bots. And it seems that we have another section down below in the body slash abdomen and another part in the head. So we most likely have a pilot who sits down here and possibly a co-pilot. Gunner and captain most likely would sit up here. There might even be two gunners. But this one is definitely one that requires many crew members to operate. At the least, we'd have a pilot, a gunner, and a captain. Pilot down here, gunner and captain up here. But for a robot this large, we probably would want a pilot, co-pilot, gunner, and captain. So most likely 4 crew members. At the least, we'd have 3. At the most, could possibly have 5 if they decided to have a gunner over for this half and a gunner for this half and then the captain. Moving on. Next we have Fury, one of the bigger robots for sure. We have, appears to be sensors down here. Quite, well, looks like we have more sensors here. This little gray strip right above this little grill looking thing right there could possibly be a viewport. And actually, it looks like we might also have a viewport here. And then these are obviously probably going to be more pods for the pilots and gunners and whatnot. This one's kind of tough to call, but we're gonna have to go. These are, I think this one's probably also a mech with a pilot, probably having a co-pilot behind him, or maybe even beside him, I don't know. And then a captain, and then we'd have 1, 2, and 3 gunners. Most likely, we'd have 3 gunners. We'd have 1 for this one, 1 for this one, and 1 for this one, most likely. We would have those. Yes. Then we have our thrusters down here to keep it moving, because these are such large robots that they would most likely need those to stay moving. That Fury out there looks like it's moving way too fast for its actual speed in the game. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, this is most likely going to be a mech. Next up we have Lancelot. We have what appears to be some sensors here. A shoulder lamp or whatever here, maybe even a headlight you could call it. What appears to be a cockpit here. Looking up above, we have what appears to be a hatch right here. That is pretty clearly a hatch. And it's most likely not for the engine, seeing as a lot of the engine is actually exposed and not covered in armor plating from the rear. Got extra armor on the front, of course. This one is, I'm going to call this one a mech as well. Most likely crewed by a pilot, a captain, maybe even a co-pilot, and a gunner, of course. So pilot and gunner, and a captain, and maybe even another co-pilot. Of course, a captain and a co-pilot could be the same thing. However, in larger bots, you'd probably want the captain in a different area where he can actually make more use of the bot and not just trying to focus entirely on piloting. Next up, we have Griffin. Pretty clear. It's got windshields on it. Everybody has seen those before. What looks to be a sensor up here. Yeah, this one is quite obviously a mech. I don't know why I'm wasting my time with it. Next up, we have Natasha. Not going to spend too much time here either. We have a clear windshield, 2 headlights, some thrusters. Keep it moving, because this is probably one of those early models of robots where you have to have the big, huge, clunky engines and the thrusters just to get it to move and be able to balance and stand. So yeah, this has probably got a pilot, a co-pilot, a captain, and a gunner, possibly 2 gunners, one for either side, or top and sides, whichever one you prefer. But it's definitely going to have 2 pilots, and of course a gunner, which is most likely not going to be one of the pilots. Now we have another one of these challenging ones. Stealth vehicle. Our stalker here. Not sure if these little things right here and there are in fact viewports or what. There's a lot of them, but there's kind of scattered a bit awkwardly. Definitely interesting. The scaffolding looking things for the gun mounts. Not really any apparent hatches. However, we do have what appears to be maybe radar jammers or signal receptors, seeing as the radar jammer is crammed into here. I'm not sure. This one is either going to be a drone or a mech. Can't really see too many sensors on it, but that's kind of the point, I think. Because then those sensors could be sensor signals could be picked up by other things and detect the bot. I don't know. I think we're going to leave this one undecided, so it's up to you guys in the comment section below. Go ahead and comment what you think it could be, all the undecided bots, or any, if you think that I might have made the wrong bit of a choice. Next up we have Carnage. 2 intake valves for the nuclear reactor thruster here. Some sensors. I don't know. I think this one might be a mech just because it seems that it's a little bit too advanced to be able to be a robot. Because in the robot world, these would probably, most of these robots, if they are robots, would be AI, because they'd have to be able to make decisions quickly on the battlefield and be able to switch targets, acquire targets, and plain out move, and be able to analyze what the other bots on the field are doing. And yeah, and this one in particular would have to keep track of its systems, be able to use the reactor thrusters and stuff. It just seems like it'd be a little too much for a robot to handle. I don't know. I mean, a robot might be able to do it, I don't know, but this one would probably be a mech and is piloted from the inside from probably a pilot and co-pilot / gunner that would use targeting computers and sensors from the inside to operate the robot. That's my idea anyway. Next up we have Rhino. We have what appears to be maybe some sensors on it. We have what appears to be transmitters, like little transmitting antennae, I don't know what you call it. It looks like it's very similar in its basic, I don't know if you'd call it similar in its basic shape to a stalker, but like the way I'm seeing it is its blockiness and its sharp design as the stalker. It looks like it would definitely be a stealth vehicle, and I think that if Pixonic were to ever just, like, say, maybe change out the physical shield for maybe an energy shield and give it a speed boost, then they could, or maybe give it a stealth, and while it's in stealth mode it gets a speed boost. I don't know, but it definitely, its basic shape looks like it could definitely be a stealthy type of bot. However, these little transmitter antennae, or antennas, whatever you call them, look like it probably is most likely a drone, because I can't really see any possible viewports. We have lots of sensors here, 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 and here. I think I might call this one a drone. Unless it's a robot that is controlled from a central command, much like the battle droids from Star Wars. But I think I'm gonna call this one a drone, most likely. Next up, we have Fuyin. Got lots of lights stuck all around on it. Got a sensor here, and what appears could be a viewport here. Got a little white line right there. Probably, if it is, we got a very bulky engine here. If it is, it's probably piloted by a pilot, a co-pilot, quite possibly, and that co-pilot could probably also be the captain, or the captain would be the main pilot, and then you'd have a co-pilot, and you'd probably have a gunner. So most likely you're probably going to have 3 crew members in here. I am probably going to call this one a mech, mostly because this little white line here looks a lot like a viewport, and it's in pretty much the correct orientation for it, so they can look down, make sure they're not stepping on anything or getting stuck, and also being able to look forward to see where they are going in the first place. Some sensors, probably for targeting computers for the gunner. Got your engine back here, so I'm going to call this one most likely a mech. Next up, we have Ryan. This one is definitely difficult looking. Can't really see any visible possible viewports. It's very difficult. And unless this little black strip all across it, or this little plate of this little looking thing right here is the viewport, if either of those are the viewport, or maybe even this little blue dot here, or rectangle, I guess, I don't know. And wow, this thing is, I'm trying to see under it, because if you look close enough, it's got like nothing there. You can look at it, not really from the top, but you can look here. So it pretty much looks like here is like right along this line here is pretty much where the body would end from the rear. And that's most likely where the engine is because of this thruster reactor here. Nuclear thruster reactor thingamabobber, I don't know. But if you look underneath it, if you can see up in here, trying to angle it correctly, it appears that this plating from the front ends right here. And it looks like there is very, very minimal stuff right here in the middle. Of course, we have that crystal looking thing that we've seen from in-game gameplay. But this one, I'm going to probably call this one, I think I'd probably call this one most likely the only robot in the entire selection. This is the only thing that looks like it could possibly be a true robot. And it doesn't have to do much, unlike the Carnage. Because if it was AI, all it would have to do is when it starts detecting that it's receiving fire, it goes, puts its shield up, or if it just decides to set up a little distance away, it could set its shield up, and targeting computers and probably a radar, which could quite possibly be what that little crystal thing that that little blue glowing crystal thing that we've seen during gameplay is. I don't know, but it probably is. I think I'm going to call this one the only robot from the entire selection of all of these, the only true robot. So, there you have it. Looking at all of these bots, some of them drones, some of them robots, some of them undecided, and that's up to you to decide. Do you think these are robots, or do you think these are mechs? I don't know. I mean, I gave you my opinion on what they are, and I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think they are in the comment section below, so go ahead down there and write what you think some of these are. I'm very curious to see what you think. And so yeah, if you liked the video, leave a thumbs up. As usual, I won't beg you to subscribe, but I will suggest it because it shows your support. And yeah, so I will see you guys later. Bye.